following is a hockey podcast out of Vancouver and Surrey, British Columbia. It'll only consist of a lot of puck talk and even more BS, or in actual words, banter and satire. Enjoy, and as always, go Canucks go.
Trevor, never forget where you came from, okay? And you came from a place not too long ago where you believed Pettersson and Hughes, not Hughes and JT Miller, could get the job done. Let's talk about it.
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, welcome to this Friday episode of Locked On Canucks, baby. My name is Trevor Beggs, co-host of Locked On Canucks, and also a Canucks writer currently with Daily Hive Vancouver. Before we dive into it, we got to thank you for tuning into Locked On Canucks, because it is your Canucks every damn day. We're not here without you listening. A special shout out to the everydayers like the Andrews and the Matts of the world. We're not here without you. We're also not here without those sponsors. And today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new FanDuel customers can get $200 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Canucks fans, a few seasons ago, were betting on Hughes and Pettersson to lead the Vancouver Canucks to glory for the first time in franchise history, helping this franchise become Pettersson, the least, going from the most cursed franchise in the NHL to finally tasting some Stanley Cup brilliance. Not many people are believing that nowadays, but these guys, again, are supposed to be leading the charge. Can they still do it? And what is the one thing about Hughes and Pettersson that no one's talking about? Let's touch on that to kick off the show. We'll also get into the Canucks making some moves, both in terms of player personnel and on the ice in practice today. We'll also get into previewing a massive, massive weekend ahead for your Vancouver Canucks.
We got to hang out this weekend. We got to figure it out or something, man.
Yeah, well, let's figure that out in the third segment of the show, man. I'd love to see your face this weekend, man. It's a big one. It's a big one. That's my co-host, Kyle Bowen, my brother. What's going on, brother?
This is the biggest weekend of my life.
Wow.
Back-to-back games, if I'm correct, Chicago and Utah. What? This is it, yo. This is the stretch drive. Utah Jazz, Chicago Blackhawks, 2 must-win games. And speaking of twos, yo, Quinn Hughes and Elias Pettersson, nobody's talking about how these two can still do it. Okay? And I don't know about you, Trevor, but I felt the way after Quinn Hughes' comments regarding Elias Pettersson. And then, Pettersson saying what we've wanted him to say for a long time. And that's this, okay? Quinn Hughes is my captain, okay? He actually put that out there in the world. And I know it's the obvious, but maybe the next obvious thing is these two getting super, super close. And the rumors are out there, right? Right, Hughes was on Pettersson's side. Hughes, quote unquote, might have wanted Miller out of there. Okay? I'm kind of making that up, but that's the energy I'm getting, okay? That he was Team Petey, Quinn Hughes, that is. Although he was Team Canucks first. All that being said, hopefully this season, for the rest of the way, Pettersson is, able to continue to have Quinn Hughes' back and support him, right? Right. We're talking about Quinn's groin injury, Quinn's knee injury, oblique injury, whatever it is. How about his back injury from carrying this damn team? Maybe Pettersson helps the Canucks out and Quinn Hughes out and makes the playoffs, but more so going into the offseason. I know this sounds crazy, but maybe, just maybe, Elias Pettersson follows Quinn Hughes' lead. Like, with everything, whether it be your offseason regimen or your mental regimen, because those two, again, Trevor, we don't talk about anymore. They were supposed to get the job done for us.
They were supposed to. And again, you look at the past number of years. I mean, since Quinn Hughes and Elias Pettersson have been in the NHL together, so this is since the start of the 2019-20 season, Quinn Hughes ranks 28th overall in points with 391 points. Elias Pettersson is 30th with 385 points. I mean, again, recent history has shown us that Elias Pettersson has not been that guy, but since they both entered the NHL together, so since Quinn Hughes' rookie season, they are both top 30 in scoring. They have been two of the best players in the NHL. Now, of course, the consistency hasn't been there for Elias Pettersson. We've seen some great stretches. We've seen some brutal stretches, whereas Quinn Hughes has been a slow and steady ascension. You could argue maybe he took a step back in that North Division season where no Canuck really played well. But for the most part, these have been two of the best players in the NHL. And again, that's why this fan base was believing. I was believing heading into this season that this was supposed to be a team that competed for the Stanley Cup. So unless they, go on a miracle run in the playoffs here, this season will be viewed as a
But
disappointment.
Trevor, okay, just that little positivity, okay? Just like unless, wasn't that a moment? Wasn't that a moment? We all talk about these damn moments, and that's why I'm like, yo, we forgot about the fact that these two were supposed to do it. Thursday, a couple days ago, Wednesday, I'm sorry. Elias Pettersson out of nowhere scores the game-tying goal. Out of nowhere, that's legitimately in the most important period of the season. Pettersson scores a goal, right? Then he scores in the shootout, and then Hughes says what he has to say about Pettersson after the game, after logging 30 minutes, and then Pettersson, having Quinn Hughes' back saying, that's my captain. Like, that just felt like a moment. A galvanizing moment. And there's so much hockey to be played this weekend. And I'm just, something tells me that we'll be talking a lot about this dynamic duo coming Monday, man. Because I think they're going to get the job done, Trevor. Trevor, again, when you and I fell in love with each other again, it was because of Pettersson. And then we fell really in love with each other because of Quinn Hughes. We're like, holy shit, we have Nathan McKinnon and Cale Makar too. And we got to see.
That was the belief, right? That was the belief in this market for sure. And look, the only way to know if that was a moment, because Kyle, I agree with you, it did feel like a moment, but the only way to know if that was really a moment is if they go on a run here, right?
Yeah.
If they don't go on a run, if they kind of meander through the rest of the season here, then that'll be, another fugazi moment, much like the 2023-24 season kind of feels like right now. That felt like a fugazi moment in time.
Yeah.
But again, it very well could be a moment. And again, now Pettersson has 3 goals in 4 games. We talked about it. He could have had 4 goals in 4 games. He didn't hit a post against the Dallas Stars. He is starting to look like the player that we used to know, especially in that third period against the Calgary Flames. But he's got to do it consistently. But I've said it all along. I mean, he's got the ability to do it consistently. I do think this is more of a mental thing than an injury thing. We've cured tendonitis, man. So this is all mental now for Elias Pettersson. And again, it's going to be a grind, though, right? I mean, we kind of we'll talk more about the schedule for the Canucks opponents and the teams that they're chasing in the wildcard race. But you have Quinn Hughes right now, who's not fully healthy. Thankfully, at practice today, it looks like the injuries on defense weren't as bad as we imagined. So that's good news for your Vancouver Canucks. Basically, Philip Rota got a maintenance day today at practice. But both DPD and Tyler Myers were back at practice. Derek Forbort practice, Quinn Hughes practice. So it looks like the defense is going to be healthy, which looks like a legitimate fear after the Calgary game. So yeah, it's going to be, they're going to need the team. They're going to need to stay healthy. They're going to need the good goaltending, all that stuff. I mean, a lot has to go right for this team to go on, call it a 12-5 run and make the playoffs here. But it's got to be led by Hughes and Pettersson. And Hughes, we know will lead, but Pettersson, if he can lead, then everyone in this fan base is going to feel better about the team's chances moving forward.
So he's got to lead, yo. Pettersson's got to do it, because if he doesn't, he's looking at his last 16 games with Quinn Hughes. And that's like, I feel like a lot of people are kind of talking about that, but maybe not saying it out loud. But this is it. Like, this is it. That's why this end of season push is so important for the Vancouver Canucks. Whether they do the right things or the wrong thing, so much can change. And again, Pettersson, you want to stay in Vancouver. You want to play with one of the best players of all time in Quinn Hughes for the foreseeable future. You want to help Quinn Hughes stay here for a long time too. Again, Elias Pettersson has a lot to do with that. There's so much riding on the next, what is it, 16 games, Trevor? 17, 16? What's the math? Anyways, and there's just like, there's some belief in me. And this came out of nowhere, maybe because it's from Greener. Okay, Greener's back in the comments. Greener's pro Petey, right? Like, I just feel like that was something. That really was something. And this team needed a third period comeback too. They haven't had one all season long, and they got one there. And kind of led by Elias Pettersson, man. The last 25 minutes, he was impressive, really impressive. And I mean, I'm looking forward, and there's no easy test, especially for Elias Pettersson, who's, overall struggled in his last 100 hockey games. But you play Chicago on Saturday, so you build off of that. And then there's like a must-win game, playoff-like game on Sunday with Utah. Right? And you're kind of scheduling these moments, and you said something really key there. Regardless of how healthy Quinn Hughes is, he's going to bring it. He's going to be an A-plus player. But if Pettersson, he returns back to being an A-plus player, I mean, we're a better team than Utah. Like, I'm not going to say it's an easy road to get to the playoffs, because we got to finish 11-6 or 12-5 or whatever the record is to be comfortably in a playoff spot. That's hard for a team that hasn't done that. I think I heard on Halford and Bruff that they only did that like once this year so far, like go 11-6 in a 17-game stretch. So It's going to be hard to
11-6,
do.
Interesting.
But like, what's your record in your last 17 games? Like, that's the most points they compiled in a 17-game stretch. They've only done that once. And I think they do it again because Pettersson's back. And I hope for his sake and for the fans' sake too, like we don't look like it's just a Pettersson thing and not his wingers and all that stuff. Like I literally think there's a small chance, aka a good chance, courtesy of Captain America helping him out. Pettersson just like willing this team into a playoff spot. It would just be so fitting. Like this has been the most stressful, the most Messier-like season, the most chaotic like season. So unpredictable. Who would have predicted that JT Miller would have been traded? 12 months ago, even Carson Soucy for that matter. And here we are looking at our next 17 games. I'm sorry. And I don't know, how random would it be if Pettersson woke up here? And like, we're looking at Pettersson's last 22 games and we're like, yo, this guy picked up 15 goals and 11 assists. Like, wow, we made, you know what I'm saying? That's possible.
Yeah. And again, you mentioned Pettersson, a bit about it being random with the bounce back. I mean, I think we've all been waiting for this for a long time, right? And again, he is, this term gets bandied around a lot, but he is the X factor for the Vancouver Canucks here.
Okay, sorry to cut you off, but I want to ask you this like philosophical question. Okay, like how much do you think it meant to Elias? And again, in the locker room, they're probably close and they have each other's back, and they don't need like a Quinn Hughes. Breaking news. Quinn Hughes says that Elias Pettersson's been taking a lot of shit all season. Like maybe he doesn't need that memento, but how much do you think that means to Pettersson?
I think it means a lot for a guy whose confidence has been rattled. You can kind of see it even in the post-game press conferences, like when he says things like, he actually was more crisp in his English. It felt like in the early days. Now he's kind of saying like, whatever you call it or whatever it was, or what's the word? Like he's doing more of that stuff now where it's like, also he's playing us a bit. I was like 5 years ago, you weren't really doing this as much, but so I think it meant a lot to him to have the captain have his back. And look, other guys like JT Bruss have come up publicly and they've had his back too. But I mean, look, I think PD is not a guy right now who needs the tough love. I think he's a guy who needs to have his confidence built back up because he's got it in him to be that guy. You saw the speed there in the third period on the second end of back-to-backs in a moment where it seemed like the Canucks should have been a tired team. Yeah. And PD came out guns ablaze in that period. So he's got it in him to be that guy. And if he is that guy, the Vancouver Canucks, Kyle, you heard it here first. They are making
Let's go. And Hughes and Pettersson, they need that playoff experience. And Hughes and Pettersson, I'm sorry if they're not like, look how tight it is. You never know what's going to happen. Like if the Canucks actually go on a run here, you never know. Third in the Pacific is still available. And then you can kind of do the math and be like, maybe we win around. I'm getting excited. I'm getting happy. And I know I've talked a lot of shit about Pettersson all season long. He's annoyed me more than me. Just an angry girlfriend. You know what I'm saying? You know when you and your girl just not seeing eye to eye, it's natural. It's a human thing. It's nothing against my girl. I'm just saying, when that happens? Pettersson felt like that, okay? At points of the season, but there's something going on here. I feel it in my heart. I feel it in my soul. And when they make like the ESPN 30 for 30 documentary, they're going to show that Quinn Hughes clip at the end of that game against Calgary. It was a big game. And Quinn Hughes meant every word he said. Like he had Pettersson's back there, and Pettersson followed it up with "That's my captain." And it just seems as if these two, they could be on the same page here. And we haven't seen that in quite some time. Like Canuck fans have been deprived of Hughes and Pettersson playing at the top of their game for the better part of like 400 days, 500 days. That's crazy to think about, but it feels like that. And now there's no Miller, there's no this and that. Like it could literally be those two carrying this team. And I kind of want to see that, man. I want to see the Shaq and Kobe thing happen here, man.
Yeah, no, it was January 2024 was the last time they were both on their games at the same time. It's been a long, long time for the Vancouver Canucks. Let's get into it more on the other side. I do want to do a couple notes on the other side. Canucks making some moves on the roster and at practice, and we'll touch on the weekend ahead as well for both the Canucks and the teams they're chasing in the Western Conference wildcard race. You're listening to Locked On Canucks, your Canucks every damn day. We'll be back on the other side after showing it our friends at Trade Coffee and FanDuel. If you're like me, your mornings have to start with a good cup of coffee, baby. But I got tired of selling for grocery store crap that just wasn't cutting it. That's why I turned to Trade, and let me tell you, this coffee is next level, man. Trade is the #1 specialty coffee marketplace, bringing you fresh coffee from over 50 of the country's top coffee roasters. Their experts have taste tested thousands of coffees, curating over 450 amazing roasts. Whether you're new to coffee or know exactly what you like, they'll handpick the perfect match for you. And if you don't know what kind of coffee that you like, I mean, a lot of us out there, coffee aficionados, much like Henrik Sedin, shout out to the black coffee chugging champ for your Vancouver Canucks. But if you don't know, you can take a quiz on their website, and in under a minute, they'll match you with a roast that tastes fresh, smells incredible, and oh my God, man, it tickles the taste buds, and it makes me feel, unbelievable. Okay, so right now, Drake is offering our listeners 40% off your first order at drinktrade.com/lockedonnhl. That's drinktrade, TRADE.com/lockedonnhl for 40% off your first order. All right, and if you're betting on sports, you know the deal. FanDuel, they got our backs and they got yours too. So if you're a new customer, you can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. That's 200 extra bucks to use on everything from buzzer beaters to overtime winners, okay? You can do it all on FanDuel. And I know March Madness is here, but yeah, I don't know a thing about March Madness. I choose to bet on the NHL. My bet last night did not go well. That's why you don't bet on the Toronto Maple Leafs, okay? That was my first mistake. I like Toronto Maple Leafs as the underdog against Florida. I liked it. It did not pay off. But looking ahead at tonight, again, there's some games that matter to the Vancouver Canucks. The Calgary Flames hosting the Colorado Avalanche. Will they bounce back? If you like Colorado on the puck line, Colorado's plus 124 to win by more than a goal. Utah is also in Seattle to take on the Kraken. If you like the Kraken with the upset, they are plus 126 to beat the Utah Hockey Club. So whatever you're betting on, make sure you do it with FanDuel. Again, start right now. And new customers get $200 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. So visit FanDuel.com to learn more.
Okay, we back doing this, and that's talking about your Vancouver Canucks. My name's Kyle Bowen. That right there is Trevor Beggs. An exciting episode so far. Feeling positive, feeling contradictory too, feeling like a damn hypocrite. Again, I bullied Pettersson a lot this year because I was just emotional. I was going through some heart problems too. Can't blame me, dude. I am who I am. Okay, I'm not the media. I'm emotional. I'm an idiot sometimes too. And here I am again having Pettersson's back. So Trevor Beggs, I just want to ask you an honest question. You can be real. You can be real, man. You're my brother. You look after me. You're like the dad. I was gonna say you're like the dad I never had, but my dad's the best dad in the world. So that sentence wouldn't have worked. Okay, but you're kind of like Mufasa. Anyways, are you worried about my well-being? Am I hopping all over the place? Again, people kind of get confused by me. I tell them all the time, I might not stand on my opinion all the time because I go back and forth, but I always stand with the Vancouver Canucks. All in all, though, are you concerned for my well-being?
I think the dramatic thing to say would be yes, but no, I'm not, because ever since I've known you, you've been one of the most emotional men I've ever met in my entire life, man. You know, so sometimes men bottle up their emotions. You know, they have to keep it all on the inside. You wear your heart on your sleeve, bro. Yep. Just like my wife. That's my wife. My wife also calls you my other wife. So now we know. Now the listeners know who's pitching and who's catching. But no, I'm not too worried about you, man. I mean,
that's why our girls don't want to go
all over the place.
That's why our girls don't want to go on double dates with us.
Yeah,
because they don't want to get jealous. But it's not like that. They're just not Canucks fans like us. You know, it's like me and Trevor are always having threesomes with the Vancouver Canucks. That's life. That's life. Speaking of threesomes, the Canucks making moves. They're making moves, and I want to get to one of these comments because it's making me think about one of these moves. And it's kind of relative, but Green is saying DPD is going to tool Connor Zary the next time we play Calgary. I'm glad he's all right. Headshots are brutal, okay? So DPD took a headshot, but he's still practicing today. DPD, again, that was like 10 minutes 25 minutes after he hit Nelson Pottery. He was ruled out of the game, and it most likely had something to do with Zary. That being said, I wouldn't be surprised, okay? Think about this, okay? Think about this. Look at this logic. This is how you got to play the game. If you're not using the injury reserve thing, the Vegas guys use or Tampa Bay use, you got to use other ways to get your advantage. They told DP to like, you know what, PD? Elias Pettersson, sit out the rest of the game. We're going to pretend you're injured so Connor Zary gets suspended. Think about that one. Think about that one. Because, Trevor, you know it, and I know it too. If DPD doesn't leave that game 20 minutes after he gets smoked by or assassinated by Connor Zary, Connor Zary's not getting suspended. That's how the league works. No, it's actually the truth. It's actually the truth, in my opinion. That's how they rule these things more often than not. If Elias Pettersson doesn't leave that game 20 minutes after he gets almost killed, Connor Zary's not getting suspended. So it was an inside job to get Connor Zary. There you go.
Yeah, I mean, I like the Galaxy Braid take there. I will say DPD sitting just so that Connor Zary could get suspended. To go down to 5 defensemen for 40 minutes in that game and a night where you're already missing Tyler Myers, that's a bold move to make. But
like it, though.
Hey, it all worked out for your Vancouver Canucks at the end of the day. And like I said, at practice today, both Myers and DPD in the lineup. So again, Hronik and Garland absent for maintenance days. Demko also returned to Canucks practice today. Another bit of good news for the Canucks. He did leave early, but that was expected according to reports. But he is back on the ice with the Canucks in practice. So it looks like maybe he's trending towards potentially playing games for the Canucks next week. But it does look like for the back-to-backs this weekend, it will be Lankinen and Shelovs. I haven't heard yet who's playing. I don't know if they'll announce that today, but likely tomorrow for who's playing on Saturday night. But look at the lines at practice, Kyle. I mean, this is Rick Talkett. He definitely listens to Locked On Canucks because look at the lines here at practice today. So the top line, you do have Höglander, EP40, and Jake DeBrusk. What did I say, buddy? On the second line, you got Drew Connor, Philip Hedl, and Brock Besser. Yep. On the third line, you have Joshua Suter and Lecker-Mackey. It looks like Lecker-Mackey is a placeholder for Connor Garland because Connor Garland has the maintenance day. And then you have Amon, Blueger, and Sherwood on your fourth line. Hughes, Myers, EP, DPD, Marcus Pettersson, and Derek Forbett and Victor Mancini were the defense players of practice. Again, Hronik out as well, so that got shaken up a bit.
I don't like Lecker-Mackey being a placeholder, but I understand him not finding a spot in this lineup right now because he's not a fourth line guy. And they'd, we saw, did we not see Niels Amon like in a game 7 against the Oilers? Like Niels Amon play, like we saw Linus Karlsson play second round playoff matches because he's more of a depth player than other guys, right? Like, I understand why Lecker-Mackey is getting pushed down the lineup. That being said, I said this yesterday, Trevor, and I want you to look down in your heart and be honest, okay? Forget about your man crush on Brock Besser. But I'm talking about, like, moving things around and having just, like, 4 balanced lines due in large part to not needing Brock Besser in the top 6 and not being convinced that he has, like, the utmost chemistry with Philip Hedl and Drew O'Connor or Elias Pettersson. Like, I kind of want to just see Lecker-Mackey play more right now than – I wouldn't say like Brock Besser, but I just want to see him get opportunities up the lineup. And I wouldn't mind seeing Brock Besser get pushed down. Not to say that he gets 10 minutes a game, but put him with Pia Suter, right? Put Blueger, Joshua, and Garland together and put Suter and Besser together somewhere in the bottom 6. Create that type of floor. Again, because I'm not seeing shit from Brock Besser. And we might need to see, I know it's about making the playoffs and all that stuff, but how much better is Brock Besser than Jonathan Lecker-Mackey right now?
Yeah, right now I would say Lecker-Mackey's probably been a bit better over the last
that's what I'm trying to say. So let's just see it because we might lose Brock Besser.
Yeah. The other thing too, Kyle, though, is this is a season now where it's playoffs or bust, right? The playoffs do matter. And who's got the higher ceiling right now? It's definitely Brock Besser, who can be and should be a lot better than he's been. And I even look at this game against the Chicago Blackhawks on Friday as hopefully a confidence building game for Besser. And Kyle, I talked about it on the show a couple of days ago, every Dayers know. I do think 2 of the most snake-bitten Canucks right now have been Philip Hedl and Jonathan Lecker-Mackey because in terms of their shooting rates at 5-on-5, they're 2 of the highest shooting players on this team. But maybe there's a rationale that Brock Besser can bring more of a shoot-first mentality to the line with Philip Hedl, who does like to carry the puck and does distribute as well as shoot the puck, or at least shoot for rebounds. Brock Besser should be a guy who is firing way more pucks on net than he is. And I do hope playing with a couple of guys with speed and O'Connor and Hedl can get the most out of his game. And when that line's been together, they control play. I think that's another reason why I wanted to see them back together. I'm sure Talkett is seeing the same thing. Again, Brock Besser can be so much better than he's been, but that line did have some success territorially in the handful of minutes they played together.
Yeah, I understand what
you're an emotional Brock Besser hater, man. I get it.
understand the logic as well. I'm just it's not that I'm an emotional Brock Besser hater. I've appreciated his effort, and I appreciate what he did for us last year and how he's been a soldier for us, and he's been through a lot too, and like that has given him like these roadblocks, whether it be personal or even like the blood clot last year. Like he definitely wasn't able to train the way he wanted to train going into a new season, right? Like that, those things all matter. It adds up. That being said, I'm just not seeing enough will and heart. I'm seeing a guy that's in his head, pissed off at the organization, and just not playing for the fans. And I don't like that. I don't like that he's not playing like a dog right now and not winning most of his board battles. And again, I'm just curious. Like, could we use this time to see Lecker-Mackey play with Philip Hedl? And I'm just not scared of having Lecker-Mackey up the lineup. I don't think he costs us in crucial games. I don't.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point there.
Yeah.
A couple other lineup notes I did want to get to before we wrap up the show here on Locked On Canucks, talking about the weekend ahead. Two quick things. We haven't talked about it yet. Happened a couple days ago. Surrey boy, come on, this is Surrey's Canucks show, man. We let the people down, but Jujhar Khaira gets traded to the Abbotsford Canucks. I mean, he missed a bunch of time with injury. Was with the Lightning's AHL affiliate, the Syracuse Crunch. Now with the Abbotsford Canucks, and man, oh man, it'd be quite the story.
I got breaking news. So screw Surrey. Connor Garland is banged up. It's not a maintenance day. So there you go. That is breaking news. That is breaking news. I just opened it up. Your boy Noah just tweeted it out. So that's not a maintenance day. That's him being hurt. That's him maybe not playing tomorrow because we're playing Chicago. Hopefully he's good to play Utah because we need Connor Garland. He's been our most consistent forward all season long. But Trevor, man, we should cut to break because if I talk more about this team dealing with injuries, I'm gonna swallow this microphone. Because what's the point? What's the point? Let's all get hurt. Let's all get hurt. Everyone just get hurt for the Vancouver. Are you Connor Garland banged up? I think he's the Iron Man leader for the Vancouver Canucks. Dude, come. I can't believe this shit, yo. What a season, dude.
Cal Bowen, the most emotional guy on the program. Let's cut to break and wrap up the show on the other side. You're listening to Locked On Canucks, your Canucks every damn day. We'll be back after shouting at our friends over at Monarch Money. Do you ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in. Your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money, it isn't just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. Wow. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending all in one place. So you stop just managing your money and start building up that wealth. Cha-ching! I learned with Monarch Money. When I started using Monarch Money, I realized just how much I was spending on food delivery. Now I start cooking my own meals. I budget smarter and I save more. You can also take control of your finances just like me. Use code LOCKEDONNHL at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com. Code LOCKEDONNHL for half off your first year. Wow.
Half off your first year. Can any Canucks stay healthy for a full year? That's the real question, man. Okay, we back doing this. Talking about your Vancouver Canucks. I want to ask Trevor how he's doing. Because all we do is talk hockey, but I'm afraid you're going to tell me that your throat is sore or something, like you're hurt or something. So let's just not do that, okay? I'm so sick and tired of these damn injuries, man. Can't do it.
Man, you're such an emotional guy. Kyle, just chill out, man. It's all good.
It's not helping, man. Talk about your weekend, man. Talk about the Canucks weekend plans, man. What Sheloff starting tomorrow? That's got to be the case. And when's Demko coming? Rick Dollywell saying it's a groin injury with that Thatcher Demko.
Yeah, Steven Valquette reported that a couple of days ago as well. So I mean, that would be back, groin, and knee for Thatcher Demko for the past 12
That's crazy. Months. I know you're not trying to laugh, but it's just crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's just I'm laughing at the Canucks' luck, right? It's tough, right? And yeah, with Connor Garland, we'll see. The this team does have to have that next man up mentality. They can be pissing and crying about Connor Garland not being in the lineup, and Brock Besser time to step up. Jonathan Lecker-Mackey, here's your opportunity as well. So, I mean, it doesn't sound like it's severe if we're talking just kind of saying he's banged up, but who knows what the situation is. Obviously, he finished the game. He scored the shootout winner against the Calgary Flames. It's not like he exited with some injury. So I just got to hope for the best there with Connor Garland, and we'll keep you posted as we learn more on Locked On Canucks. The weekend ahead, I mean, I heard you're DJing, man. I don't got too much, man. Just family time, playing outside with the kids, playing inside with the kids, just being the second best dad in the world, as you said. But what about you? I hear you're DJing. Are you missing the Canuck games? Are we getting together?
No, it's a community gig. I'm doing it for for Surrey, dude. It's a family thing. So come through Surrey Central at 2 to 4 o'clock. I'll be playing music in and out for an hour. You should bring your kids. It's like a family thing, you know.
Saturday or Sunday?
Saturday, tomorrow. Surrey Central. I know it's a bit of a drive for you, but one love to the city of Surrey, one love to the Junos coming to the West Coast, the best coast of Canada, one love to the music scene in Vancouver, and one love to Archer Shelovs. Okay. People are going to be panicking tomorrow when he gets the start against the Chicago Blackhawks, but he's already beaten the Chicago Blackhawks. And
his one win of the season.
So I'm confident. I'm still confident in Shelovs too. Like, I don't think I heard people talking about how the Canucks with Demko's injury luck, like they need to grab a third goalie. It's like, how about just develop Shelovs and get his confidence back?
I mean, they signed this guy to a one-way contract. He's not in the AHL making $100,000. He's making his NHL salary, whether he's in the NHL or the AHL right now, right? So, I mean, if you don't trust Shelovs against the Blackhawks, who are you going to trust him against, right?
Yeah.
And he's had some good games this season. It's just the consistency hasn't been there. So, I think, again, you got to start Shelovs on Saturday against the Blackhawks, and then you throw Kevin Lankin in against the Utah Hockey Club on Sunday as well. Quick note before I want to get into the weekend ahead. I want to mention in the lineup notes that Linus Karlsson, you mentioned him quickly, Kyle. He's on the best Canuck line this season. Höglander, Karlsson, and Pettersson. Linus Karlsson is signing a one-year extension with the Vancouver Canucks, paying him league minimum $775,000 per season. He's had a great year in the AHL, 19 goals in 28 games, 32 points in 28 games, points per game rate of 1.14 points per game. That leads the average for Canucks. He's been great for them this season, and he didn't look out of place in the NHL as well.
Okay, so but why do you think the Canucks, like, he started playing good for the first time, like strong hockey for the
I think
Canucks?
he was good last season too.
But no, I think he was like, it was just like Neil Zaman, like just bored, just whatever, right? Just another Neil Zaman. You don't need Neil Zaman and Linus Karlsson playing on your roster at the same time. Okay, let's just be honest and let's be real. That's way too much of nothing going on other than, being a base level NHL player. But, we saw this guy play strong hockey with Pettersson and Höglander on that road trip. And I think he scored a goal against Nashville, but like right away, just because the Canucks, I think they made the Hedl trade or whatever, and they had like extra four. I don't know, Drew O'Connor or whatever, that an extra four, and they sent this guy down or whatever, if my math is correct. And they split up that Höglander and Pettersson line. And, Green brought up a good point too. Like, bro, moving forward, I know it's not going to happen because this guy is so trigger friendly, and that's Rick Taka with his lines. But can we just see some lines stick together? Like, what the puck is the point of seeing Besser, Hedl, and Drew O'Connor back together when they had a little bit of substance, and then you just split them apart, and now you're back doing it? Like, can we just see the lines stick together for a bit? Please?
Yeah, no, I get that. I think Rick Tocchet set the lines in the blender for too much of the season, right? And even on a game-to-game basis, it's a tough one too, because when your offense isn't going, you want to shake things up. But if you shake things up too much, you're just hurting your team even more. So I kind of hope the lines we see stick together for some time, because I think there's the ability for them to have success together, and those lines have had success together in stretches as well.
No, 100%, man. It's just annoying, dude. Like, okay, so you don't think if you're like a player on the Canucks, like you can't just go up to talking and be like, yo, enough's enough. Let me just play with the same guys for more than 3 games or 2 games. Like, if we scored a game ago and then have one bad period the next game, like, don't split us up. I'm tired of that stuff, man. It's so annoying.
Yeah, that's Rick Tocchet. Again, there's a bit of a drill sergeant in him as well. Okay, I want to look quickly at the Canucks competitors ahead here. So the Calgary Flames, they got a bit of a tough schedule coming up. You mentioned they play the Avalanche tonight, and they got the Leafs, Rangers, Devils coming up. So they got a bit of a tough one over the next few games here.
Please lose, dude.
The Utah Hockey Club, they play the Kraken tonight, as I mentioned. Then they play the Canucks, and they have the Oilers, Sabres, Red Wings, and Lightning twice. So again, their schedule's a bit up and down overall. I mean, obviously the Sabres are the worst team in there. Kraken aren't great either, but the Oilers, the Lightning twice, and the Red Wings team that's fighting for their playoff lives should be a tough one as well. The Utah still has the Panthers coming up after that as well. The St. Louis Blues, I think, they're the team that scares us the least in this race. But man, oh man, their schedule is coming up as a bit of a cupcake schedule. They face a Wild team that has been trending downwards. They got the Ducks, the Predators, the Canucks, the Blackhawks, the Predators again, the Canadians, the Predators coming up over the next 8. So the only playoff team they're playing in their next 8 games is the Minnesota Wild and the Vancouver Canucks if they're there. So that's just kind of sizing up the competitors for the Vancouver Canucks. I mean, look, Andrew mentioned in the comments, Canucks have 17 games left. They need to win 11 or 12 of those games. And they got some tough games coming up, too. They got the Jets twice. They got the Golden Knights twice. They got the Avalanche. They got the Stars. They got the Wild. Like, you got to win at least 1 or 2 of those games and then pretty much beat everybody else, including the Chicago Blackhawks and the Utah Hockey Club coming up this weekend. The New York Rangers and the Blues in there as well. Like, you got to be winning all of these games that aren't against the top contenders in the Western Conference. And it's not going to be easy for these Vancouver Canucks. And by God, they better show up this weekend for more than just 20 to 25 minutes like they did against Calgary, or else they're not gonna emerge victorious.
Dude, just pick up 4 points, man. Just go on a damn run. Like, don't make it difficult, man, and beat Utah. Like, that's a huge game. Like, you have one of the best players in the league playing in Quinn Hughes. Like, Pettersson, step up to being 11.6 and just look at the Utah Jazz as a team you should beat and just beat them. Like, bury them. This is it, right? This is why I get paid the big bucks, and I'm excited to see it. And, you know, Callum Sandu said it earlier today. Like, you know, these games are all intense and they're tight, and like the season has quote unquote sucked for the most part. Now I'm paraphrasing with Callum just a bit, but you know, we're here. We're here. Your stomach is full of nerves watching these games, and I'm not gonna lie, I kind of love it. I love it. I love how these games matter, Trevor. Like, this weekend's gonna be pretty excited for the Canucks fans. Like, you invested, and screw all the other teams. All in all, though, hit the like button. We got to go. One love to you and you and you. It's been an emotional season. Obviously, I got to deal with some things, and I'm kind of like a bipolar Canucks fan right now, and I'm realizing a lot about my life. But as long as I have Trevor by my side, I'll be fine. And as long as I have my girl by my side, I'll be fine as well. But again, hit the like button. It does help us out a lot. Begsy, sign us out.
All right, one love to you and you for tuning into this episode of Locked On Canucks. Whether you're an everyday or an occasional listener or a first-time listener, we appreciate each and every one of you for tuning into the show. A huge weekend coming up for your Vancouver Canucks, and we got you covered for all that happens before and after the game here on Locked On Canucks. For now, we got to get out of here. I'm Trevor Beggs. That guy, he's Kyle Bowen, and you've been listening to Locked On Canucks.
Your Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.